Something I want to talk about specifically is the way that Jesse Wells uses propaganda in order to work for him. In the case of this song, Join Ice, I believe that Wells is making fun of people. You know what? I'm not going to carefully say this. I believe that Wells is making fun of the people who are putting these advertisements out. I think that Wells is pointing out the different ways that the injustices have happened in ICE. And I think that Wells doesn't care about offending ICE hopefuls. And frankly, no one should. In this song, not only is Wells somewhat patronizing, not somewhat, he's a lot patronizing, and I think it's allowed because people who join ICE are stupid, and welcome to Hannah's Opinion Hour. But I think specifically we see Wells doing political work in the lines, "See, I failed the academy." Moose, stop. I think specifically we see Wells talking politically throughout the whole song, but specifically in the part where he says, "See, I failed the academy, the cops weren't having me, the army didn't sound that fun. So I found me a paramilitary operation that was keen to hand me a gun." These moments, I think, are where we really see Wells starting to make fun of ICE agents, and we've seen this type of escalation in his music before. I'll put a clip here.
I said 1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want your fucking war. God said you're getting it, Abe. That's a good direction. Let's get that dose to a double. God made the planet, man made the Xanax. Elon get much ready. Said let me and start shit wagging in the boss. But you need to live it out.
Specifically because he sees so many injustices happening from within this kind of privileged spot that he's sitting. I would almost say that Wells has done the work to decenter himself and sort of recognize his privilege where he kind of has it and speak out where his privilege allows him to. And this is where I want to bring in Susan Howe's Sorting Facts. This book represents a very emotional time in people's lives, and I believe that you are so needy. You're so needy. I believe that Howe's insistence on remaining on human subject, and then again in this change of language that she uses to represent the atrocities that are kind of going on in people's lives, I think that this relates deeply back to Wells because of this focus on human emotion. Throughout the song, Wells talks about how these different community groups are affected. Specifically, in the first line, we see, "Come with me and put some folks in detention. Just last week was kind of tough. I put a kid in cuffs. I zip-tied a lady to a van. We can sneak around town, hunt working folks down. I hear they got a great benefit plan. In these moments, Wells is really pointing out who is being affected by the violence that ICE is exhibiting. In these moments, the listener, yes, hi, oh my goodness. In these moments, the listener is forced to reconcile this is who ICE is actually chasing down. Because the normal sort of the propaganda that has come out is that ICE is good for communities. ICE is providing a service and getting dangerous criminals off of our streets. But here, Wells is pointing out who's really affected in the same way that Howe does in Sorting Facts. And I think that using these sort of media, using this as a sort of media attention to the groups that are really being affected and the way that the military and the government are really affecting everyday community.